Hey everybody, it's Jack and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be the first video in a brand new series that I'm going to be doing here on the channel. It's one that all of you guys have been asking for in the comments section. It was been highly requested, so here it is, the first video in the series. It's going to be an investing tips and tricks series where I go over the entire life cycle of investing, starting with this video where I'm going to walk you through how to find a good stock. I'm going to show you some of my favorite online tools and resources as an investor to find winning stocks. And then in future videos, we'll walk through things like how to analyze a business, looking at a company's fundamentals to decide whether or not it's a good investment for you. We'll start to dive into some technical analysis. So we'll pull up stock charts and I'll show you exactly how to analyze them and some of the favorite indicators that I like to use on a regular basis. And then this will help lead us into making decisions on when to buy stocks. I'll show you exactly the thought process that I go through and some of the tools I use to decide when to purchase a stock and enter into a position. And then on the flip side, we'll do the exact same thing for selling a stock. I'll show you exactly the thought process for how I decide when to get rid of a stock and how to exit a stock position. So this is going to be a really exciting and jam-packed series of information. I hope really that any investor of any skill level is able to pull some useful information from these videos. So without further ado, let's kick off the series and jump right in. So like I said, today's video is going to be all about how do I find winning stocks and some of my favorite free online resources and tools that I use on a regular basis to find new stocks. So again, these are all free resources that any of you guys can use with absolutely zero cost and that I use all the time and really enjoy. The way the video is going to go is I'm going to start with the lightest material that is more general for any investor out there. And as we work our way through the video, I'm going to get to more and more advanced tools and resources that I like to use. So we'll start off nice and light with some sites where you can read great articles by business analysts that recommend their favorite stocks to buy, sell, or hold. Some really good resources and thoughts from professionals in the field. These articles could have stocks that pique your interest or in certain industries that you're interested in. They could also just bring up good talking points of stocks you already own, or to potentially bring up some risks or warnings for stocks that you currently hold to your attention. By the end, we'll get into some advanced stock screeners that you can really use to target any certain requirements that you want in a stock and find ones that meet those specific requirements. So these are great tools to find niche stocks that you're really interested in. So the first free resource that I really enjoy and use on a pretty regular basis is the Motley Fool. This is a site where analysts post on a daily basis their thoughts on opinions on a wide range of stocks, from dividend stocks to growth stocks and occasionally the odd penny stock here and there. And they even talk about Bitcoin and taxes and things like that. So it's not just stocks, they talk about broader investments and finance topics in general. For Canadian topics, the motleyfool.ca is where you should go to. And for American or US stocks or topics, you go to motleyfool.com. And this is really just the perfect site to, browse on your way to work, whether you're on the bus or subway, or, when you're sipping your coffee in the morning. That's what I usually do. I'll have a coffee in the morning and I'll scroll through the different articles on their site. So you can see all these articles are from today. If we scroll up, if we look at one of the articles here, we'll look at the 17 top stock picks for March 2021. You can see that at the top here, what I really like is that each article will have the ticker symbol for the stocks that they talk about within the article, which is nice because if you're feeling lazy and you just want to skim through, you can look at the title and then at the ticker symbols and kind of get the overall picture without even reading the articles. So not necessarily something I recommend, but something you can do if you're quick on time and you just want to skim. And if you scroll down, they go over and talk about why they either like the stock or don't like the stock, maybe some catalysts coming up. And this one in particular is actually different analysts talking about their top stock pick for the month and quickly explaining why they think it is a good stock. So some pretty insightful things. So just a great free resource that has a lot of different opinions on different stocks and may open your eyes to certain stocks that you weren't aware of, or talk about catalysts or news coming up for certain stocks that you may own or potentially think of owning. So this is a great free resource to add to your routine when it comes to looking at stocks. So the second free resource, which is somewhat similar to the Motley Fool, is Seeking Alpha. Seeking Alpha is not only a great resource for finding stocks, but also doing an analysis and looking deeper into stocks, which I'll cover in future videos. But for now, I want to focus your attention onto the latest news section or tab. You can actually filter and look at different news based on the industry or sector that you're curious about. So we can go to tech news. So you're going to see a bunch of articles written by analysts and posted onto Seeking Alpha that you can go ahead and click on. And it's going to bring you to an article that are usually in these kind of bullet points that talk about and highlight different aspects of the stock in question. So a great resource, and that's in the latest news. And you can do just general news, or like I said, you can filter by earnings, a bunch of different things. And if you want to focus primarily on dividends, you can go to the dividends tab and find articles on dividend ideas, dividend ETFs, real estate with REITs, and a bunch of other things. So it's slightly different to Motley Fool, but also very similar. So another great free resource that covers a wide range of stocks and that can potentially help you find great stocks to buy that you might be interested in. So there we have Motley Fool and Seeking Alpha, two great free online resources that let you see the thoughts and recommendations of analysts and others on a wide range of stocks. So the next way to find a winning stock is less of a tool or resource online, but it's more of a way of thinking. So I want you to think of an industry or sector that you're really passionate about long term. So we're talking 5 to 10 years down the future. What's an industry that you think is going to continue to grow and do extremely well? I personally am very passionate on the clean energy or renewable space, as well as anything to do with the supply chain of EV. I think both of these are going to be growing industries long term, but these are just my personal opinions. So think of an industry or sector that you're really passionate about. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at an ETF or an exchange traded fund for that industry or sector, and we're going to go ahead and look at the holdings that that ETF has. ETFs or fund managers have to disclose publicly the stocks that they are investing when it meets a certain threshold. So this is all public information that you can utilize to your advantage to find winning stocks for the long run. ETFs manage millions, if not billions of dollars within their funds. So the amount of research they do into stocks that they add into the holdings of their ETFs is enormous. They have to do really in-depth analysis on all of the stocks before they add them into their fund, because again, they're spending millions of dollars on individual stocks. So they need them to be winners down the long run, because they don't want to add bad stocks that will hurt their fund and their reputations for millions of investors that are putting their money into the hands of these funds. So again, this is a great technique, one that I personally use. So maybe you like Cathie Wood's, but you don't necessarily want to invest in ARK Invest ETFs, such as ARKG, ARKK, and you want to look at their individual holdings and maybe pick up 1 or 2 stocks that they hold. There's really an ETF for any industry or sector. So this strategy works for any type of investor. Just think of an area of the market that you're passionate about and go look up an ETF, and you're going to find the holdings, and you're going to find a wide range of holdings from dividend stocks to growth stocks to penny stocks within these ETFs most of the time. So this is a great resource, and let me now show you how it works. So for this strategy, literally head over to Google, type in whatever industry or sector and then ETF after that you want to look to, or if you have a specific one in mind, I'm going to do ARKG ETF. Just Google that and then scroll down and look for the actual fund website. So this is the actual fund for ARK. I'm going to go ahead and click it. And for the majority of ETFs at the top somewhere, you should see a tab that says holdings, top 10 holdings. Click it. It should bring you to the top holdings within the ETF. This is a great place to start. But if you want to see all of the holdings, there should be a button somewhere. There is right here. View all holdings. And from there, you now have the full list of companies that are held within the ETF of your choosing. So this is a very simple but effective strategy to find winning stocks that are backed by big funds and have a lot of money behind them. So we've now gone over the strategy of looking at the public holdings of an ETF to find winning stocks. This is one that I love to implement and I think is a great strategy for any investor, because there is such a wide range of ETFs for any industry or sector that you're passionate about. You can find really cool stocks that you're interested in through using this method, which I love. So now we're going to jump into a more straightforward method for finding winning stocks. This is a technique that you may or may not have already used in your daily investing journey. We're going to look at some stock screeners. So we're going to look at my favorite online tools or resources for screening stocks. What stock screeners are, really quickly, is just that they are a way that you can pick certain requirements that stocks must meet, and they're going to spit back the stocks that meet those requirements for you. So you can set things as, a minimum dividend threshold for a dividend yield, or you can set minimum price to earnings or a maximum price to earnings and things like these. These stock screeners really allow you as an investor endless flexibility or customability to find the stocks that meet your specific needs, no matter how weird or specific they are. This is a great way to find good and winning stocks that fit your requirements for your portfolio. So the first free resource to use as a stock screener is none other than Yahoo Finance. This might be a website that you've used. It's one that I use on a daily basis. I really enjoy it. And it actually has a stock screener capability that you might not have been familiar with. So let me show you how it works. You go to My Screeners. And if you're doing regular stocks, you're going to go to Equity Screener. If you want to look for ETFs, you can do the ETF screener. But today I'm going to show you the equity screener. So at first, it's going to pop up like this. I have it set to Canada. You can set it to US if you're looking for US stocks. And then you can set small cap, mid cap, large cap. I'm just going to remove this filter for now. The same with this one. So now we're left with sector. We can go ahead and filter by sector. If you don't want to filter by sector, you can go ahead and remove it. But let's look for technology stock. And then let's go ahead and add another filter. I'm just going to keep it very simple for this example, but there are almost endless possibilities that you can filter with. So I recommend you play around with different things. You can do price to earnings. I'm going to just add a last close price. So it's going to look at what the share price was of certain stocks at their last close. I'm going to set this to $10 and I'm going to set it less than. So this is going to look for stocks that are under $10 and are in the technology sector in Canada. And we can see that estimated results are 176. So we're going to go ahead and find stocks and we can go ahead and see we've got BlackBerry, Celestica, Drone Delivery Canada, which I featured on the channel, FLT.V. So you can see our stock screener successfully filtered on our requirements. So it is tech stocks and ones that are all under $10 or were under $10 at the last close. So let's now make a change and add a filter. And we're going to scroll down and actually go to the dividend section. So you can see there's a dividend and split section where you can filter by the dividend yield. So you can look for certain dividend yields. Let's say you want a yield above 5%. You can filter on that. I'm actually going to filter on this selection right here, consecutive years of dividend growth. So I can actually filter on how many years in a row the stock or company must have been raising its dividend. So we can screen and look for companies that have been raising their dividend for over 10 years in a row. So let's go ahead and find the stocks. And we can see that the classic Canadian dividend stocks are the ones that are returned. You're looking at your Canadian National Railway, your Enbridge, your TC Energy, Bell Canada, Fortis, TELUS, a bunch of great Canadian dividend stock companies when we filter this, but you can adjust this, make it 20 years, 30 years, and really customize your results for certain stocks that you have for your investment needs. So these are a great reason why stock screeners can be a very effective way to find winning stocks. Another great stock screener website is FINVIZ. FINVIZ is mostly American stocks, so it's not as great for Canadian investors, but I still want to show you it as it has a lot of great capabilities. So right here at the homepage, you've got your top gainers of the day. So all the stocks with the highest gains, and all the stocks to the right are your top losers. So the ones that have dropped the most. But what I want to bring your attention to here is on the right, this heat map. If you go ahead and click on it, it's going to pop up a big screen of a heat map by industry and sector that shows you at a very quick glance how all the companies are doing across the various sectors. And on the left side of the screen, you can actually go ahead and filter. So you can actually switch it to ETFs if you just want to look at the heat map for ETFs. There's also a world filter, which shows you the different countries and how their stocks are doing. So here you can see Canada, and we can go ahead and look at the top Canadian stocks and see how they compare to the others. And then where the actual real stock screener capability comes in is when you go ahead and click on the left here on bubbles. So in a nice visual way here, you can actually go ahead and filter companies and compare them to each other. So you can go ahead and change what the X and Y axis represent. So I'm going to put the X axis, I'm going to scroll down and go to 1 month performance. And on the Y axis, I'm going to change this to dividend yield. So we now have a really great visual representation of all the dividend yielding companies in the S&P 500 and where they are in comparison to each other. So on our Y axis, we have dividend yield. So the higher up here are the higher dividend companies, and down here are the lower dividend companies. And the X axis is 1 month performance. So the farther to the right the company is, the better it's done over the past month. And if we go up way up here, we can see we have AT&T, a classic US dividend stock, has a 6.9% dividend yield and a 2.38% performance over the past month. And the different colors of all the bubbles represent the different sector that they're actually in. So another great way to check out different companies of different sectors in comparison to each other. You can just go ahead and customize these filters to a wide range of different selections and filter them respectively. So another great stock screener type tool, primarily for American stocks, that gives you a nice visual representation of how stocks compare to each other within industries and within different industries. So this was FINVIZ. So hopefully that kind of shows how stock screeners can be used to your advantage to find stocks that meet your specific requirements. And I really like Yahoo Finance and FINVIZ as free resources or tools for stock screeners. They are really great and ones that I would recommend for anybody to try and at least test out. With that being said, that kind of wraps up this video of my favorite free online tools and resources for finding good stocks or winning stocks? Let me know down below in the comments your favorite tool when it comes to researching or looking for stocks. I'm truly interested in what you guys use on a daily basis to help you find winning stocks. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this first video in the series. Remember, there's lots more videos in this tips and tricks series coming in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, please give it a like. It helps the channel grow, and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all my content. Lots more coming your way, and you're not going to want to miss out. I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed.